Hey, hi, and hello, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a weekly track roundup. My thoughts, my feelings, my opinions on a bunch of tracks that have dropped over the past week or so. Whether I loved them, or hated them, or felt somewhere in between, they're all linked down below. You can check them out for yourself, along with, of course, per usual, our Turntable Lab link. We get kickback from it if you use it to buy some turntable stuff, some vinyl, some whatever. Try it. Try it out. Also, our Patreon page, too. We get kickback from that. Obviously, it's a way to directly support us and the channel and to get some extra bonus monthly content in the process. All right. And, of course, YouTube Shorts page. That's linked down below, too. And, yeah, let's get into it. Worst tracks of the week. We have a handful of those. Let's just get through them. Let's get through this process as painlessly as possible. Bam! Starting with this new cover of Making Flippy Floppy from the Stop Making Sense tribute album. They weren't all going to be as good as the Paramore cover, were they? Yeah, unfortunately, as much as I'm digging on a lot of Tizo Touchdown's latest stuff, this cover is really not it. I feel like he was vocally performing to another instrumental, and then they sort of like threw his singing on top of a carbon copy of the original. I think it smooths a bit out around the hook, but by that point, it's too little too late. Something's just really off about the vocals. I'm not digging it. Moving on from there, Pharrell, Miley Cyrus, I wanna be a doctor. Yeah, I mean, this is painful to listen to. I do think it gets quite groovy on the hook, but the biggest kind of shortcoming of this song is that it's trying to be sexy, it's trying to be sexual, and it is failing miserably, as it has kind of no appeal on that front at all. All right, moving on from there, The Kid Laroi, a painfully auto-tuned acoustic cut that is annoying as heck. Still Yours is the title. Pass on that. Also not really crazy about this new Casey Musgraves track that sounds like it's just kind of deja vu of Sweet Child of Mine. I really don't get the appeal. It just kind of sounds like it's ripping off that song, and it's not nearly as good. Moving on from there, Cardi B Freestyle. What are we doing? Why is it taking so long to make a new album? Why do we not have a great, amazing, exciting banger single to lead us into this new record? Where is it? Where's the big banger single? Where's the incredible, memorable, viral, addictive single? We're getting a freestyle off of an old Missy Elliott beat that Ski Mask, the Slump God, already rapped on not too long ago, and he did a better job. And worse yet, Cardi B's flow on this freestyle sounds like Ski Mask's flow. So it's like a ripoff of a ripoff in that sense. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Let's just move on. I don't need this. Okay, new one from Cage the Elephant, unfortunately. Uncage that elephant, please. Maybe the songs will be more lively and interesting if that ends up happening. Out Loud is the name of this one, and it's trying to be an overly sentimental piano ballad. It's really kind of not bringing, I think, the potent emotions that might make that sort of thing pop off. I just really feel like this style of song is not Cage the Elephant's strong suit, and I will leave it there. All right, meh. Tracks I was kind of meh on. You might like them more than me. They are as follows. Let's get through these because we got a lot of good tracks to recommend. We have a new one from, 21 Pilots, Overcompensate. Not as crazy about this one as I hoped I would be, given that this new album cycle for the duo is supposed to be the return of Trench. It literally says that at the start of the song, return to Trench. Trench is back. But it's not as exciting or as hard rocking as a lot of that Trench stuff was, honestly. I mean, it's certainly louder than anything on the last 21P record, but some sad Radiohead chords, some Prodigy beats, some funky guy raps. It's really not that exciting or thrilling, unfortunately. Again, improvement off the last LP. Improvement, but like, is it on the level of so many great tracks from Trench years ago? No, not in my opinion. No, not at all. Though new album, Clancy, on the way. We're going back to the Trench era. I hope the rest of it is better than this, and I will leave it there. New one from Lil Texas, some pretty decent hard style from him. Nothing too crazy or over the top, though, by his usual standards. But again, if you're looking for something in that vein, try it out. We have a new one as well over here from Rico Nasty and Boys Noise. I think it's a bit slightly grating, and stylistically not to Rico's strong suit either, but she's one of many rappers out there these days who can kind of make this transition into kind of more of a dance context, and it kind of works. So I can appreciate her switching it up like this every once in a while, even if it's not a personal favorite for me. We also have a new one from Gesaffelstein, who tries his hand at a big, dark, pumped up kind of synth pop cut that sounds like something like Matthew Deere would do, honestly, if anybody who's watching is familiar with his stuff. Hard Dreams is the name of the track. New album on the way. Will there be more on the record sounding like this? I don't know. I mean, I do usually enjoy a bit more his more straightforward dance stuff, but maybe a record of something in this vein would be interesting, I suppose. Moving on from there, new one from Chloe Bailey. Fuck Your Status is the title of it, and she's really kind of still in Beyonce mode stylistically at this point. The vocal parts aren't really that stunning, but the beat is there. The beat is certainly there, and yeah. All right, moving on from there, best tracks of the week, the ones that really impressed me. I have quite a few to get through, honestly. We got a lot of best tracks this week, so pay attention, lock in. Here we go. Rapid fire, boom. Starting off with this new one from ZelooperZ. It is unhinged, it is barely mixed, it is messy, it is chaotic, it is hilarious. If you like your rappers just full of energy, full of zest, full of wild wordplay, and just chock full of personality, check this new track out. Smearious is the title of it. We have a new one over here from Vylet Pony, one for the bronies. If you like some of that like terminally online, dead air, Jane Remover type, rock and pop music, I think you'll really kind of get down with this, new cut over here. It's very Underscores-esque as well, I would say, to a degree. I highly recommend this one. It's well written. It is well produced. It is kind of punky. It's in your face. It is super energetic as well. Bit of a monster is the title of it. Messing also as well with this new St. Vincent track, Broken Man. It sees Annie Clark messing with some heavy distorted riffs, with some sequenced beats and electronics, some passionate and fiery lead vocals. It's giving kind of Rage Against the Machine, combined with Nine Inch Nails, combined with LCD Sound System, combined with Slater Kinney. It's a very hot and exciting, kickoff to this new album cycle for her. So pretty pumped about that. All right, moving on from there. Sugar Pit with a new track titled Pay Me. It is a fair wage banger, a fair wage anthem. Give this one a spin. I think this guy is a really cool up-and-coming artist for sure. We also have a new one from Stove God Cooks, Carbone. I imagine is like the project that's on The Way Badu is the name of the cut over here. It's a little short, kind of single verse, but it's got a strong refrain, some nice throwback production that I know you guys in the Griselda camp love. And of course, Stove God, brings some very eccentric vocals as well that he's, quite well known for. All right, moving on from there. Shabaka Hutchings, new album on the way. Our first taste of it. The opening track is a really beautiful, just like gorgeous, touching instrumental cut that has me pretty pumped for this entire album. That has a lot of great features on it, actually, when I looked over at the track list. So, it seems like there's going to be a ton of creativity running throughout this record, instrumentally and also vocally, with guys like Elucid of Armand Hammer fame in the mix as well, with many others. And, Armand Hammer has a track that I'm going to mention in this video as well in a bit too. So make sure to stick around. That End of Innocence is the name of the cut. All right, moving on from there, we have a new one from Sevdaliza as well. It's a collaborative one. The song has kind of a bossa nova flavor to it. It's very plucky. It's very alluring. It's very melodic. It's very pretty. The name of the track is Good Torture, and also features the artist Elyanna as well on it. Moving on from there, new one from Sebii. Very wild, crazy, out there banger. 10s, less than 20s, 30s. It's an odd title. But you know, I like how tongue-in-cheek and silly and playful and odd Sebii's music is, while, you know, sticking very firmly in kind of a weird hyper rap lane. Again, there's not a whole lot of artists out there that I think kind of scratch the sort of strange online itches that Sebii does, and you know, big respect for continuing to be able to do that. All right, we have a new one from RiTchie. RiTchie with a T, of Injury Reserve fame. He's been focusing on dropping more solo stuff. He's got a new cut over here featuring Aminé, and it's bringing experimental Del the Funky Homo Sapien vibes all over the place as well. Aminé's feature on it is fantastic too. They've had chemistry before, you know, under the Injury Reserve banner. Certainly that is still the case on this new cut over here. Dizzy is the title. Again, one of the best tracks I've heard this week. Certainly one of the best rap tracks I've heard this week. All right, moving on from there, we have Rachel Chinouriri, who's come through with a very personal and narrative cut. Narrative single from her forthcoming LP over here. What a Devastating Turn of Events is the name of the song. It's got kind of like a light driving little indie pop and rock sound to it, but again, I'm really liking the vocals, really liking the chorus, really liking the story kind of running throughout the track as well. Certainly the most thoughtful single that Rachel has dropped in the lead up to this album so far. All right, moving on from there. Mexican OT has a new project, a new tape out, very feature-heavy project with everybody from Paul Wall on it to also Propane too. But the particular track that I wanted to point to you guys is one featuring Moneybagg Yo, and it is quite the banger in my opinion. It's got a nice little kind of slick West Coast vibe to it, and yeah, it's a bit of a gang-oriented track. Twisting Fingers is the title of it, but again, verses go hard, chorus goes hard. The Moneybagg Yo feature is I think a bit amped by his usual standards too. All right, moving on from there, Matt Champion of why am I having a brain fart? Matt Champion of Brockhampton fame. Second single in the lead up to a new project. This one over here has some super strange, wild, out there vocals and, kind of like vocal effects laid onto them as well. Slug is the title of it. And, I'm having a hard time even telling what the heck genre this is. It's that whacked, but in a way that comes off as creative, and I kind of highly respect him for doing something kind of daring and a little weird on this new one, big time. All right, Mason Ramsay, Yodel Boy, the Yodel Kid, Mason Ramsay, new track, but it sounds old. Blue Over You is the title of it. It's got a classic kind of vintage vocal pop and country sheen on it, and it's quite emotional as well. It's very well written, very well produced tune. I know the cover art's a little whack, but believe me when I say that this track has some real class to it. And given where Mason Ramsay started, believe me, you're not gonna believe where this track is coming from. It's think like Super Depressed Everly Brothers, something like that. It's along those lines. It's quite good. All right, moving on from there. Knocked Loose, sounding so damn heavy. This track's got to register on the Richter scale. I mean, some of the editing between riffs, like at the very start of the song, a little annoying, comes off super artificial, but the song goes hard as hell. The breakdowns are insane. The riffs are crazy. Is this in Drop Z tuning? I have no freaking idea. It's absolutely nuts. Blinding Faith is the title of a new album on the way. We have a new one from Julia Holter as well. That, of course, sounds heavenly. That is blissful. That is divine. Absolutely cannot wait for this new record. Something in the Room, She Moves. Evening Mood is the title of that. It will certainly put you into an evening mood, I would hope. We have a new one over here from Joey Valence and Brae. Frickin' John Cena is the title of it. If you're looking for some throwback hip-hop, with a bit of a Beastie Boys flair to it, but this track in particular, not only does it have a kind of a vintage beat to it, but almost some very bright current day Playboy Cardi-esque kind of synths. But it works. It works on this new cut over here. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. All right. Enter Arma. A band I haven't really covered super extensively in the past, has come through with a new single from their forthcoming album titled New Heaven. It's the title track, and it is a lengthy, crushing, dissonant, epic bit of death metal with multiple phases, and it really just like kind of wears down on your soul in a super cathartic and stellar way. Give it a listen if you're looking for a metal cut that's really going to kind of go the distance and drag you down into the abyss. We have a new one over here from Fred again, Overmono, Lil Yachty on the track too, though their vocals kind of get incorporated in a way where they're sort of like, touches, bits of the instrumental. It's really Fred again's production that sells the track, and the endless grooves, the transitions, the hype, the momentum. It's a really solid, really good track overall from Fred, in my opinion. The title of the track is Stay In It, Give It a Shot. Moving on from there, Charli XCX, Von Dutch. I kind of feel like with that recent song that she did with A.G. Cook, Britpop, her vocals aren't super, I guess like, detailed on this track. Like the verses are barely there and the chorus is super repetitive. It's really kind of the bulk of the song. The revving beat, the revving dance beat, the revving, hyped, amped, just super, just blown out, aggressive EDM festival style production on this track is, I think, really kind of the meat of the song and what sells it. It's not, one of these tracks from Charli that takes kind of like an intimate and, kind of like a personal angle or anything like that. This is the big banging single. This is the rager. Would have loved something that had a bit more of her, I guess like kind of vocal versatility in the mix, but I'll take it. It's still kind of a catchy track with, a great beat to it. So there you go. Charli XCX, Von Dutch, new album on the way. Moving on from there, Avett Brothers, who, it's been a while since I've really been a fan of a lot of their stuff, but Love of a Girl is a stellar new track over here that has almost kind of like a lo-fi indie folk punk kind of delivery to it. It's very rough around the edges. It's very kind of, raw and energetic, and it sounds killer. Honestly, it sounds killer. I'm liking this, at least the direction for this track. It's not something I expect they'll do for an entire record. It's not, really their MO, but I mean, if they kind of stuck to this sound for an entire album, that'd be something. Really a kind of refreshing and different kind of vibe from the brothers over here. And again, they're sounding, incredible going this way. And finally, Armand Hammer has come through with, a little extra, little closing track to their diabetic test strips record they dropped not too long ago. Doves is the title of it, and it is an ambient noise post-rap meditation with some just emotionally cutting bars from Billy and a crazy experimental vocal outro with lucid all over the place, sounding like a frickin' ghost from another dimension. It's actually quite insane. It actually reminds me of some of the super crazy experimental stuff that happened to a degree on Anti-Con records back in the day and kind of pushed, even further. A lot of people who I think are mostly just kind of abstract hip hop fans and just rap fans in general, sort of blown away by it. I think they don't really kind of know a lot of the reference points for some of the noise and ambient and abstract genres they're obviously pulling from, production wise on this track. But I actually think it's really cool. They're, inadvertently introducing people to this vibe and, really kind of pushing the boundaries for a lot of the stuff that's out there in this lane today. I feel like there are some artists who kind of, are seen as popularity wise kind of leading the abstract hip hop pack, as it were. But I think when it comes to creativity and actually pushing the boundaries and just all around being risky, being daring, like Arm and Hammer is the duo to beat. Like, you know, nobody out there under that label current day is doing shit like this right now. But there you go. That's a link down below, along with everything else that I talked about in this video. Again, check it out for yourself. That's the weekly track roundup. You guys are the best. Love you. Hopefully you got some, good tracks out of this one, per usual. I will see you in the next one. Anthony Fantano, weekly tracks forever.